Hello everybody, this is my second dispatch from Angers, France. This is the Dark Matter Knits podcast. I'm Elizabeth Green Musselman. It's June 11th, I believe. Doesn't really matter because you're in a different time zone anyway. It could be 2015 as far as you're concerned. But I have a couple of videos to show you from our visit to the Cointreau factory today, which I had no idea until today was based in Angers, France, and which is where I am. And it's been around since 1849, which I also did not know. And you're not going to be able to hear the video or the audio on some of this, may be a little hard to hear, so I wanted to explain some of what you're going to see. The factory is kind of on the outskirts of Angers, and you can tour it. It's a great tour. If you come to this region, definitely go on the tour. It's really, really interesting. And you start out in the gift shop, and then they kind of show you around the distillation room, which, I mean, the whole thing made me feel like, where are the Oompa Loompas? Because it was like adult Willy Wonka land. But the distillation room is what you'll first see. It's the place with all the copper, giant copper vats. And it's where they take bitter orange rind, regular orange, or sweet orange rind. Bitter oranges are just unripened oranges. Macerated oranges, that's where they've taken regular oranges and just kind of soaked them in alcohol for a while. And then they put all of that into a giant vat with some water and some pure alcohol, which they make with beet. What do you call it? Not beet sugar? Sugar beets. Sugar beets. So they make the alcohol out of sugar beets, and the sugar that they put into it, which is not much, is out of sugar beets, which according to the guide is flavorless, unlike sugarcane, and unlike corn syrup or other things that are typically used for sweetening. So they distill all of that, and he explains the whole process, and you'll hear some of that in the video. And then they've got this highly concentrated version of this orange liqueur. So they kind of water it down. Well, they literally do water it down in another room and test to make sure that it tastes right, that it's got the right balance, and then go through the whole process of bottling it up and labeling it and shipping it. So they showed all of that too, but we weren't allowed to photograph or video that section. Apparently, because they showed us this whole wall of 150 bottles of, and they said they had about 250 more, where people had tried to copy Cointreau, like copy the bottle shape, that kind of iconic square bottle shape, the brown, amber, glass color, the Cointreau label, the name. There's just been hundreds and hundreds of copies of this thing, so they didn't want that part filmed. But they showed us the distillation room. They showed us what the dried rind looks like when it arrives from Senegal and Tunisia and Venezuela and all of that. Oh, thank you. And my sweetie just brought me some ads, some postcards from this time. So they show you through all that, kind of explain that whole process to you. And, and they also explain what triple sec means, which I didn't know, and I thought was pretty interesting. So the triple in triple sec means, originally it just belonged to Cointreau, and then they couldn't copyright it, so it kind of got copied by a bunch of people. But it originally meant that Cointreau had 3 times the essential oils of other orange-flavored liqueurs, and the sec, which means dry in French, meant that they added less sugar. So it's not as sweet a liqueur as some others. So they show you through that whole process, and then they talked quite a bit about the marketing and advertising of Cointreau, which at first I thought was kind of cheesy, but then once I realized how how interesting the whole history of the advertising of Cointreau was, it was well worth a listen. So this is one of the early ads for Cointreau. It's, let's see what year this is, 1936. And this kind of Art Deco look really keeps coming up over and over again in Cointreau marketing. And apparently they were among the first to do film advertising and used this fellow, Pierrot, as both in posters and magazine ads and the film, the early film, as the marketing device. And in the 1890s, it's when the film was invented, 1895, when, cinema is invented, period. 1899, the first Cointreau ad is made, so merely 4 years later. And this guy, an actual person, is filmed with a stomach ache in a restaurant. And he's brought a bottle of red wine and a bottle of champagne, and he keeps refusing it. No, this is not going to make my stomach ache. Go away. And then he's bought this giant bottle of Cointreau, sort of similar in size to what's seen here. And he starts licking the neck of the bottle, and all the while, my husband's laughing too. It's so ridiculous. Bow chicka wow wow, Cointreau. So, all the while, there's this ghost film showing over the top of this woman taking off her clothes. And the guide explains that this is what he's imagining while he's licking the neck of the Cointreau. Oh, should I mention this film is not safe for work, by the way, this podcast, nor is it for your children. I took my child on the tour, and the college student standing next to him kept putting his hands over his eyes. And he is no, that's not Pierrot, but you get the same idea. This one's from 1902, actually. So similar sort of, that's not Pierrot, is it?
Yeah, and the Guignolet is the drink that preceded Cointreau, which was made from cherries.
Oh, that's right. So this was the first, thank you. This was the first drink that the Cointreau brothers made in the 1840s. It was a cherry flavored liqueur, and then it wasn't until the 1890s that the orange
they still serve this
liqueur
cherry
took over. Oh, still serve this cherry one around here, apparently, according to my husband, who he speaks more French than I do. Of course, the guide was speaking English, but apparently he listens better too. So yeah, fascinating tour. So I'm just going to show you a few clips from the tour so you can get some sense of what it looks like and what the tour would be like, and just how beautiful the factory is in general. It's a very stylish, crisp sort of place. So with that introduction, I will let you take a little bit of the mini tour of the factory. Bye. So here we are inside. This is obviously the gift shop at the Cointreau factory. Let's see, founded in 1849. I wish you could smell it. This is the distillery. It smells unbelievably delicious in here.
First of all, you have to know that you're in the only very room to distill Cointreau, okay? We only distill Cointreau right here, in this room, all right? So we're going to make about 15 million liters a year, and all of it comes from right here, okay? So we're going to have a look at how we do it. We fill inside, okay? So we fill it to about half, I guess. Then we insert a bit of water and, of course, alcohol, okay? So all of this is going to be macerating for one whole night. And then on the next morning, we come and hit the big red part with still, okay? Nicely and slowly, the mix inside is going to be heating up, and then at some point, of course, evaporating, okay? So all the alcohol goes up, and we reject about 650 tons, about 650, 700 tons, because they've been rehydrated. So obviously there is no alcohol anymore. There's no orange taste either. Okay, so it's just neutral digital waste. This row is actually not used for Cointreau. Okay, the Cointreau row is the other one. Okay, so actually the whole worldwide production comes from half this room. Okay, so the other half is used well for the other kinds of Cointreau that we have. First of all, because we don't have only the basic one that you all know. We have also a professional one that is used by bakers mainly, sweet makers also. And it's highly concentrated in alcohol, about 60%, and in essential oils. And we have no sugar in there, because they have enough already in the preparations. We also have what we call Cointreau cuisine that has been launched about a year ago, I guess, which is a kind of a mix between the two. It's only 40%, but it's higher in essential oils, highly concentrated also. So that's used for cooking. Okay. And then finally we have something that is an exclusivity for the US market and the duty-free sale. That's Cointreau Noir, Cointreau Black. A mix between cognac and Cointreau. Okay, so that's about 30% cognac and 70% Cointreau. Also, Cointreau is part of a group. Okay, and this group, which is the merging between Rémy Martin, the cognac brand, and Cointreau, it's going to be called Rémy Cointreau. So in here in this room, we're going to make other productions for this group. Well, we also, to start, we also have what we call external productions. That's what you saw. The apricot course, the cocoa. We have also gin that is made here, Curacao. Everything is not for us, okay? We have sometimes orders from the outside, so we distill it and we give them back the finished product.